All right. So let's get into today's episode. We're going to talk about optimize your indoor space for your microgreens. Some of you may know this, but we'll just go in some details of how we optimize our space and talk about that. So there's things you need to do to optimize your space. Obviously, you need to have it in a controlled environment inside there, so you can control it the whole time from the elements. The watering from water from the sky. Obviously, you don't want to be out. Even if you're outdoors, you don't want to have that because that's going to change things. But you want to have your temperature, your humidity, pest control, all that kind of stuff in that indoor grow space tidied down so it's ready to go. It's important to have that. Andy, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, and it's important to get that under control before you move your farm in.
Yes,
That's
yes.
definitely a big key piece. I mean, that's a lot of what we're dealing with right now in the new space that we're getting into is just making sure everything is buttoned down solid, all the holes are filled, that way nothing can get inside after we move in, and we get all the mess out of the way ahead of time, and then that way we just have a clean space to move into. So yeah, it's definitely very important to do it ahead of time, but it's super important to lock it down from insects, pests, all that good stuff too, and get your humidity and temperature under control.
Yeah, and you want to get that pest control done before you move into, like Andy was saying, like even that,
Yeah.
have your stuff in control, have your company there, or have your boxes to catch anything, because you might get some things that come in before you move in. So get them out of there before you get there, because like Andy's dealing with an empty building that's been for a while. We had an empty building when we came in here, so you want to check all them traps, even if they're already here. Make sure nothing's in them. See what you got to do. There's a lot of things you want to do before you get moved in, and then all of a sudden you got a mouse running around that you didn't know about. So uh,
Yeah.
get them controlled beforehand, and get your temperature in line, your humidity all down. Make sure it's down because when you bring plants in, though, it's going to raise right back up. Temperature will raise up, the
Yeah.
humidity will raise up. So keep that in mind as well. When you moved into your space, did you have that when you brought everything in? Even though if you had your stuff down, did you have to readjust after that?
It wasn't too bad when we first moved in. It became bad when we added 12 grow racks
Yeah,
in 1 week, because that was a whole lot more plants, a whole lot more water going in. And that's what led to us buying large Marge, because ultimately the one we had just wasn't even close to keeping up with that level of new humidity. So thankfully she saved the day, and I would imagine I'm probably going to have to get a second one of her, or maybe one like the one you guys have with the pump built in. Once
yeah,
I get into my new space and start filling that place up, but I think initially, because it's such a large space and we're going to have the same amount of racks initially, I don't think it's really going to affect us too much. I think if anything, it may actually be drier. I hope it'd be
yeah.
nice to not have large Marge have to run all the time, but we'll see. Only one way to find out. Hopefully, it'll be the next few weeks.
Yeah, we're getting ready to add a new one, another one. Ours is right at 47. It's holding that. We want it really like at 45. Sometimes it gets up to when you water, it gets up to 55. So we probably need another one within our grow space and need to really look at getting one. So that's the next thing we're going to be buying equipment wise, probably here soon to take care of that because it's going to change. Like Andy said, you had 12 racks in 1 week.
Yeah.
We added 12 racks in 1 week. It changes. Boom, all that extra breathing of plants. It's going to change your humidity dramatically. If you add a rack in
Yep.
your house, when we added a rack in our house, and you got another rack or two, it changed. We had to get a bigger dehumidifier. Probably one rack. You're probably if you're in your house, you're okay. Maybe two, you're okay still without getting one. You get past that, you're going to need to get a dehumidifier for sure and then get a decent sized one. We got a little one in the beginning, had to get another one. So if you're
Yeah.
planning on making this a business, go ahead and get a decent sized one. You don't have to get a large Marge or one that we have or anything like that, but get a decent sized one that's going to take care of that. And I think you always talk, Andy, make sure you get like double of what it says.
Yeah, I usually tell people 4
Four
times.
times.
So if you've got a 200 square foot space, get one that's made for 1,000 square feet. I know it sounds ridiculous because you're only working in 200 square feet, but you watering plants every single day is adding way more humidity into the air than a regular household would. So, keep that in mind. So if you got a 500 square foot space, try and get something that's, 2,000 square feet, that's ready to handle that just in case, because you can grow into that, and you won't have to make the mistake that Mike and I both have. I mean, I have 4 dehumidifiers now, that started too small, and just sort of like, oh, this next one will be fine. And we learned our lesson the hard way along the way. So, but large Marge is taking care of it. She's made for 8,000 square feet, which is only double what we have in the new space. So
Yeah.
hopefully, like in the long run, I'm probably going to need either another big one or a very big one.
Yeah.
So we'll
One
see.
I know one grower who has his dehumidifier and everything within his HVAC system that he put in.
Yeah.
So he doesn't even have to worry about anything as it just takes care of it in there. But that's a large expense. A large expense
Yeah.
to put on somebody
Yeah.
else's building. Also, in my opinion, like
Yep.
I would never put that much effort into somebody else's building. But each to their own.